from the foe. You dig?
Welcome to The Way I See It with Jamario Rashad. This is a Carolina Panthers fan channel. Please do me a favor by hitting the like button and please make sure you subscribe as I am on my road to 2K. Trying to make sure my channel is popping before these games get started next season. Now that that's out of the way, let's go ahead and get to the video. Now, if you are a returning member or a returning viewer of the channel, I have something new for you. And if you are a new viewer, just thank you for being here. I call this one Buy, Sell, Hold. I am going to give you all my opinions on the returning members of the Carolina Panthers offense. This is a two-part video. The defense is coming very, very soon, so be on the lookout for that. But whether they be returning Panthers or newly acquired players, as long as they were in the league last year and they have performances as well as stats already established for the 2022 season previously, I'm going to give you all my opinion on whether I think that will increase, decrease, or stay about the same. So we're going to look at these players as if they were stock. Are they on the rise? Are they plummeting? Or is it going to stick about steady? So now that we have the ground rules already set, let's go ahead and start with the first player. We have Miles Sanders, newly acquired running back who comes to us by way of the Philadelphia Eagles. In 2022, Miles Sanders had 1,269 yards, rushing with 11 touchdowns, as well as 78 yards through the air, but he did not have any touchdowns receiving. I expect Miles Sanders to have an even better year than he did last year when he received his first Pro Bowl nod. He is back with his rookie year running back coach in Deuce Staley, who arguably coached him to have the best year of his career, being even arguably better than, as I mentioned, his Pro Bowl year most recently, where he had just about the same amount of yards, but his all-purpose yards, be it, but they were split up. There were way more yards through the air, but he still almost had 1,000 yards on the on the ground. So I believe with the addition of him coming and having a tremendous offensive line that may not be as great as the Philadelphia Eagles, but being back with his offensive line coach and having a established offensive line, I think Miles Sanders will have an even better year than he did last year. So I say buy that Miles Sanders stock. It will only increase before the season is over with. The next player we are going to discuss is third-year running back Chuba Hubbard, who is coming into us, playing his proverbial backup role, because I don't think at any point of him wearing a Carolina Panthers uniform will we ever see him as a suitable starter in any way. So in 2022, Chuba Hubbard had 95 rush attempts for 466 yards and 2 touchdowns. He also had 14 receptions for 171 yards through the air and no touchdowns. Unfortunately, although we have seen an uptick in the effectiveness of Chuba Hubbard, it may not be evident in his numbers. We have seen a lot of the problems that were shown with him in his rookie season, where he was forced to be out there being the starter, unfortunately due to the injuries to Christian McCaffrey in that year. We have seen his package of his game become a lot more put together. He's able to stay balanced. He doesn't fumble anywhere near as much. But with the addition of Miles Sanders coming in, and it already being said by himself, the coaching staff, and everybody involved with the Panthers organization, that they do plan to have Sanders be the three down bell cow back. I don't see Chuba Hubbard getting 95 rush attempts, anytime soon. And not only because we have Miles Sanders being the bell cow, but one of our wide receivers that I'm going to discuss a little bit later in this video, I believe that he is going to be getting a good share of carries out of the backfield as the team looks to utilize him in a more Swiss Army knife type role out there. So unfortunately, I am going to have to say that the Chuba Hubbard stock is going to be on the downswing throughout this 2023 season. So I would have to say I am going to sell every bit of Chuba Hubbard stock that I have, because it is not going to be worth as much as it was at the conclusion of last season. So the next player we have is third-year running back Raheem Blackshear. I am not going to get too much into Blackshear. He did not see the field very much last year, but he did have flashes as the year progressed. But unfortunately, similar to a lot of the reasons that I have for Chuba Hubbard, I believe that Blackshear's impact and his stats are going to be on the downswing this season, and every bit of stock that I had for Raheem Blackshear, I am going to sell it immediately. I believe Miles Sanders is going to take his value away, as well as that other player that I mentioned just a moment. So I would have to say go ahead and sell that Raheem Blackshear stock. So now we move away from the running backs and we move into discussing the tight ends. The first being Hayden Hurst, newly acquired to us, coming by way of the Cincinnati Bengals. In 2022, Hayden Hurst had 52 receptions for 414 yards and 2 touchdowns. I can say without a shadow of a doubt that I expect this to improve almost immediately, and him to have higher stats than that before the halfway mark of the season even comes about. Being with a pinpoint passer the likes of a Bryce Young, but him also being a rookie that is just getting his feet wet in the NFL, having a tight end that is able to cover the middle of the field, be a safety blanket, and just be a quick check down, a quick read for an undersized guy to always have somebody that he feels like can get him out of trouble if he ever finds himself in it. I think Hayden Hurst is going to have not only a better year than he did in 2022, I think Hayden Hurst is going to have the best year he's ever had in his 5-year career, and I think his stock is going to skyrocket by the end of the season as the Carolina Panthers moonwalk their way into the playoffs. So I say go ahead and buy that Hayden Hurst stock. You won't regret it, and you will make yourself a lot of money on your investment. So now we move into our projected backup tight ends. The first being Ian Thomas, who has been a member of the Carolina Panthers for the better part of the last 5 years, and I have seen just about enough of this guy. I know a lot of people would try to come in and point to just how effective of a blocker he is. Well, I'm here to tell you I don't really give a damn. Ian Thomas has not shown the ability to come in and be a pass catcher, make any type of actual impact on the offensive side of the ball outside of his ability to block. And is my opinion of him somewhat skewed because he was the guy that was drafted immediately upon the departure of Greg Olsen, so he was projected to be a quote-unquote replacement? Possibly, but even if that wasn't the case, drafting a guy as high as we did Thomas, and him being 4 years into his career, I expected him to be a lot better than what he is, and I don't think that he is going to be any better no matter who's behind center. So I am going to have to say Ian Thomas. I am going to sell my Ian Thomas stock immediately. It is going to plummet, and in my head, by the end of the 2023 season, it may damn near be worthless. So sell it while you can. The next tight end we are going to talk about has been the backup over the last 2 years, this being this just entering the third year of his career, be it Tommy Tremble. In 2022, Tommy Tremble had 21 catches for Tommy Tremble had 19 catches for 174 yards and 3 touchdowns. This guy has shown flashes each and every time the coaching staff has entrusted him to get out there and get a significant number of snaps throughout the year. His physicality, his speed, his pass catching ability, his elusivity, his ability to break tackles, it's all been on display. They've even used him on reverses because he is so athletic. I believe Tommy Tremble is going to be a very valuable asset who is going to be able to show his skills a lot more so than he has in the past, because we have a good trigger man behind center now throwing the ball in Bryce Young. So I think that this Tommy Tremble stock is going to be on the rise, and I think it's going to be on the rise fast, despite Hayden Hurst already being the undisputed number one guy. I think with the sets that we are going to run, the two tight end sets that Frank Reich is known to run at times, I believe Tommy Tremble is going to be utilized as that second guy that is going to sneak up on a lot of teams that I'm pretty sure that they are not doing their homework on. And being a Carolina Panthers fan, we know what he's capable of, but I do believe that he'll probably still sneak up on a lot of guys, and I think that he will have the best year of his career. So I say bye, bye, bye. That Tommy Tremble stock is only going to rise. Now, the next player we are going to discuss is the first of the 5 wide receivers we are going to talk about, that being Adam Thielen, newly acquired to us from the Minnesota Vikings. Now, in 2022, Adam Thielen had 70 catches for 716 yards and 6 touchdowns. He also had 45 first downs, which I feel is important to mention as he moved the sticks, being a very, very good possession receiver. Now, my opinion of Adam Thielen is that because he is on the other side of 30, he is going to be 32 or 33, I believe, when the season begins. I don't think that he is going to find the fountain of youth, but I don't think that he is just going to miraculously fall off a cliff either. So I am going to say this is going to be the first player that I am going to hold my stock on. I don't think that he is going to be any worse due to age, attrition, anything like that, but I do think that he has the potential to be better, dependent upon how good Bryce Young is and how quickly Bryce Young can be very good. But if Adam Thielen did put up those same 70 catches, 700 yards in a Carolina Panthers uniform, that would be the best output that we've had in like several years now, aside from DJ Moore performances. So I am going to hold my Adam Thielen stock. I think he is going to come in and be the exact same receiver that he has been previously, and I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that is actually a plus. Now, the next player we are going to discuss is DJ Chark, newly acquired wide receiver that comes to us by way of the Detroit Lions in 2022. DJ Chark had 30 catches for 502 yards and 3 touchdowns. The story of DJ Chark's career has been maligned by a lot, and I mean a lot, of injury history throughout the years. Yes, he's been a Pro Bowler in his second year, but throughout his 5 years in the league, he has missed almost as many games as he has been not eligible for, but appeared in. So a worry is that the injury bug may bite him. But with him being a guy that is not going to be utilized as a number one, the focal point of this offense, I think that he will not have to endure as much as he has with previous teams in previous years. So I think that will allow him to have a bounce back year than he had last year, playing only 11 games. I think that DJ Chark's stock is going to rise tremendously, playing with the likes of a Bryce Young, who is going to be able to get him the ball. He is a burner with that 4.35 speed. He is going to be able to get down the field quickly, and being from Alabama, that is something that Bryce Young is very accustomed to with his wide receivers. So I think they are a match made in heaven, and DJ Chark is going to have a tremendous season. So next, we are going to discuss our hybrid wide receiver. Now, I am going to be the first person to dub him that, but I am going to call him that, our hybrid wide receiver, Levi Chenault. So in 2022, Levi Chenault was traded to us around 3 or 4 games into the season from the Jacksonville Jaguars, and he had 27 catches for 272 yards, 1 touchdown, and rushing on the ground, he had 9 rushes for 65 yards and 1 touchdown. So it has been said, I've said in many of my previous videos, so I'm sure anybody watching this already knows that the Carolina Panthers plan to use him in a potential Deebo Samuel type role, just putting him in the position to get the ball in his hands, make plays, because he is so good at yards after catch, yards after contact, all of that good stuff, that I believe he is going to be the reason that Chuba Hubbard and Raheem Blackshear see less snaps than they would have if Chenault had not been a member of this team. I think that he is going to be utilized on as a power back and get a lot more carries than he has previously had in his career. I believe he can be the ultimate gadget guy, as I said in my most previous video. Go ahead and check that out as I discussed what Steve Smith thought about our current wide receiver room. So with that being said, and for all of those reasons and factors, I would say go ahead and invest in that Levi Chenault stock. It is going to be on the rise, whether it be with receiving yards, rush yards, or what I secretly suspect is going to be his key role for this team this year, and that being kick returning and punt returning. I think he is going to be a fantasy darling. I think he is going to be a impactful player on the field in real life, and I think that Levi Chenault stock is going to skyrocket before the end of the season. So I say go ahead and buy that right now. Now, with 2 players remaining, we're going to start with none other than young third-year guy Terrace Marshall Jr., who me and I'm pretty sure every single other Panthers fan in the world has been waiting on this guy to just break out and have a super season, man. And this is the year that I think that he could potentially do that. So in 2022, Terrace Marshall Jr. had similar stats to that of DJ Chark, but it was 28 catches for 490 yards, but only 1 touchdown, that being the first touchdown of his 3-year career. Now, Terrace Marshall Jr. has had to deal with not only rat fat, stupid can't coach rule over the first 2 or 3 years of his career, but he also had to deal with the instability and the inability at the quarterback position and nobody being able to get him the ball. So as I mentioned with Leviska, as I mentioned with these other pass catching guys, I believe that the addition of Bryce Young is going to be a force multiplier and make Terrace Marshall that much better as well. And I believe that we will see him have his best season of his career. He will have multiple touchdowns. He will definitely have more than just 500 yards. He will be active for more than just 14 games and start in more than just 9 games. Terrace Marshall is finally going to show us what he can do. He is in a contract season. He is going to be extension eligible after this year. So I expect him to go out there and ball out to the best of his abilities. And I think that stock is going to be on the rise, man. And as we come to the last player that I am going to discuss, that be it the very controversial wide receiver Shi Smith. So in 2022, Shi Smith had 22 receptions for 296 yards and 2 touchdowns. This guy has been a very divisive player amongst the ranks of Panthers fans. Many people look at him as a 6th-round guy that has given us tremendous value and still has room to grow, while others look at him as a guy that is very overrated, has only put up the stats he's been given because the coaching staff for some reason has favored him over Terrace Marshall, which they were wrong about. But there is a lot of differing opinions on Shi Smith. But with that being said, with all of the additions that the Carolina Panthers made in the wide receiver room, be it Adam Thielen, DJ Chark, as well as drafting Jonathan Mingo in the 2nd round, I think Shi Smith is just pretty much going to be the odd man out when it comes to the returning wide receivers. I just don't see there being a place for him in the rotation. There has to be room for the rookies. There has to be catches for the veterans who, without a shadow of a doubt, are just better than him. So although his stats were not eye-popping at all during his season last year, I only can imagine that they will be even lower. As I mentioned, I assume that he will lose his punt kick returning responsibilities to another player, even if it isn't Levi Chenault. I don't think that he will be the player that the coaching staff elects to continue to let do that. But with that being said, man, that will be the conclusion of buy, sell, hold for the offensive side of the ball, man. You all tell me what you think about this tier list. Did I get anything wrong? Do you have any differing opinions, man? Whatever your thoughts may be, hit the like button if you enjoy it. As I mentioned, I do have the defensive side of this video coming, or I might not, depending on the reception of this. If you don't like it, I won't make it. But go ahead, hit the like button. Let me know if you would like to see the equivalent of this on the defensive side of the ball. But with that being said, man, I am Jamario Rashad. This is the way I see it, and I'm out. Peace.